Skeleton Crew had a roundtable, so we're going to watch it, see what they say, and talk about this, guys. And I've seen a lot of talk about how, hey, Skeleton Crew isn't Star Wars because it's like a Goonies kid show. I'm like, dude, did you not see some of the older Star Wars movies where, you know, you had like the Ewok movie and things like that? That was definitely more of a kid show. So this can be a Star Wars show. I just hope they don't try to Disneyfy it, if that makes sense. Disneyfy? I don't know how I say it. Anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about. All right, so let's watch this and see what this is all about.
Just start yelling stuff. We'll get professional. It's really fun to be able to write a show with your best friend and then make it with all of your friends. And we're really, really fortunate.
Especially when the show's about a bunch of friends.
Yeah, Skeleton Crew is about friends. It's by friends for friends. Yeah. It's starring friends. This is what it's going to be like. This is as best as we can do.
Power of friendship.
This is going to be a fun roundtable because I've known Ford since everyone calls him Ford. No one calls you Chris, right? Do you want to be called Chris in the roundtable?
No, that's weird. Just call me Ford.
Ford. We've known each other for such a long time. I've known you since I was 18. I've known you since I was 18. Known you since I was 18.
Yep.
And
she is the one that I think will really add good layers of Star Wars and Star Wars lore and things about Star Wars because she is such a huge Star Wars fan and she loves Star Wars. So Bryce Dallas Howard, I really feel like she's the one that's going to bring a lot to the table. So she's the one person I think that like I'm actually excited about being a part of this film or this TV show. So we'll see what else they say here.
We just met like an hour ago?
Yeah.
What was your name?
We all went to school together at NYU, and I'm just a fan of you.
Right back at you guys.
On the third Spider-Man, I was shooting with Jon Favreau. We were just talking, and I gave him the very, very quick pitch, and he was like, would you want me to, like, produce it? Like, is that cool? It would be, like, me and Dave Filoni. And I was like, yes.
And see, the fact that Filoni's involved, I know it's probably going to be some good storytelling because he is a really good writer. And I think that he might be able to add some more layers like him and Bryce. The other guys, I'm not so sure on, but we'll see how this goes.
Jon Favreau, that would be great.
I remember when I was working on season 3 of Mandalorian and doing the previs, the third floor team who animates and creates all of the previs, they were working on the show, on Skeleton Crew. And I was like, oh my gosh, how is it? And they were like, it's so good. I was just like, oh God, it sounds so good. And so there was already like buzz on campus about it, you know?
It was a really easy yes. And you told me the elevator pitch of the show and then mentioned that Jude Law was going to be starring
I'm really
in it.
excited
And I feel like
about
I just
Jude Law.
left set like 5
really
minutes
excited
earlier.
he's going to be
making a movie with Jude and a bunch of kids. And I was like, oh, this is going to be exceedingly comfortable.
Yeah, and that was almost weird because I don't think we knew that when we first thought of you, and then we thought like, oh, is he gonna want to just repeat what he had done?
You're gonna want to work with Jude Law again?
And it was like, duh.
And kids.
And pirates.
Yeah, the answer was yes.
Yeah, there's a very specific Venn diagram that's like Jude Law, pirates, kids, and then David Lowery is in the center of that. That's the guy you get.
Yeah.
I'm just their roommate from college, so it's sort of. It was more like,
No, you're very qualified, Jake. Very qualified.
Yeah,
like,
Jake.
maybe not that qualified. Like it was more like
Jake, that's legit not true.
Everyone keeps saying like I'm qualified a lot in a way that makes me feel like maybe I wasn't so qualified, but that's all right. It's fine. I just had to clean up after you guys.
It seems like the cynical one.
You have a particular set of skills.
Yes, exactly.
How did you get the Daniels to do this?
I know the Daniels through their DP, Larkin Seipel, who Jake has worked with. He shot all of Beef. And so we've all been friendly, and they're just like such amazing creative guys.
When we hired them, that was before Everything Everywhere came out. We knew they would be awesome. Just their whole aesthetic. It's just so original and amazing.
We wanted them, and we
It
wanted
does look cool.
Lee
The
Isaac
practical
Chung.
effects
Minari is
laced
like
in with the
most
you know,
moving
the other effects.
Story of like a little boy going into a new world that he doesn't understand, and that's basically a version of what this show is.
And Isaac, it was really cool because we got to work on season 3 of Mandalorian together, and so he was like one of the directors that had gotten the bug and was just like, yeah, I'll do another one.
Yeah. He already understood the process.
What guy what person would turn down like working on Star Wars, honestly.
And that plus his ability to work
I mean,
with kids
maybe right
was
now
just,
with
like,
the state
made
of
him so
Acolyte
perfect.
and stuff
You know,
like
something
that.
that I noticed that was really kind of extraordinary is so often when you're doing anything as a director, you think about tone. Like that's a hugely important component,
Yep.
especially when
Storytelling.
you're a director who's coming in and directing an episode, you know, where there are creators and writers and showrunners who are also directing and all of that. And so you really need to kind of not create the tone yourself. You need to adopt the tone.
That is the best point that Bryce Dallas Howard brings up. If you have many different directors, many different people doing each different episode, you have to make sure it flows with the tone and everything else that, you know, the other directors are doing and things like that. I feel like Mando season 1 and season 2, they did a pretty good job with that, seeing that they had a large team that wrote different episodes and things like that. I feel like it flowed pretty well. So she's 100% right on that.
And what was so cool is because you guys just come with a tone. Like that's just inherent. And it, I think, allowed for there to be so much cohesiveness in the storytelling because you all have such a shorthand. And I mean, I feel kind of included in this as well. Like I know what you guys do. I know the vibe. And it was just awesome to get to kind of step into that.
That's what's great about having
right
Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni as your producers is because they're like the ultimate safety net. They give you sort of the freedom to follow whatever creative path you want to go down.
Should just be the head of Star Wars, man. Throw out Kennedy, put in Favreau.
One direction to the other.
Yeah. People are always asking, what are the tonal inspirations for the show? And it's not like you and I have ever like consciously sat down and said, well,
made a list.
Goonies.
Yeah, a list of like, it's gonna be a little bit of this Amblin Wonder magic with a hint of this. That's just like in our DNA. So we just talk about the story and then write it, and then I think find ourselves surprised at what we're referencing when we're writing.
Right.
Or
It
like
just comes out,
National
like,
Treasure.
You have always
You guys
loved
ever
pirates.
watch that? Gives me those
I
vibes.
have always
There was
loved
a
pirates.
sound project from freshman year where you guys are just doing all of the pirate voices.
Yeah.
It's like a pirate radio drama.
I love pirates.
So this is not coming
Always
from
love
nowhere.
pirates.
This is
It's fun to have a genre as an entry point
Yeah.
to help you sort of explore a different section of the Star Wars world. And
Yeah,
you know, we
pirates.
went back and
We
watched
saw that in
like
Clone
old
Wars.
pirate serials from like the 20s and 30s, and that was a really
Yondu.
fun entry point.
But just the stuff that you connect with as a kid.
As a kid, you want to go on an adventure. As a kid, I grew up in Colorado in the middle of nowhere, and we just go for walks out in these like fields with nothing around, and you're just hoping that you go on a kind of Amblin adventure. That's just what we grew up with, and that's the kind of adventure that we were always looking for as kids.
Yeah.
The Amblin reference is so a part of us because we were raised in that world.
There's that sense of wanting to go on an adventure as a kid, but I think anyone can remember that moment, like when you're a kid and you sort of expect that like maybe all adults will be safe and helpful, and then you realize that like adults are complicated and the world is not. And that's even in Goonies, you know, it's this like
Yeah, this is like
realization that adults
E.T. Goonies
don't always
vibes,
have your
man.
best interest at heart or want to do things. I just thought there was something really, really resonant about that.
And there's a really interesting tonal balance. Like the thing that made those Amblin movies have that spirit was something that Kathy Kennedy would talk about. She would say they were grown-up films that just happened to star kids. So you'd make 4 10-year-old kids your main characters, but it's not a kid's show. It's not a kid's film.
That's like
You're
Stranger
still making the
Things.
stakes really real. You're still making it dangerous. You're combining that, you know, childlike sense of wonder with a real dangerous
Yeah, like
world.
Stranger Things, how they
Star Wars show
included
that
all
can
the
sit
things from
next
your
to all
childhood.
the other things in the Star Wars environment. Having Jude on set is like, Jude Law is so amazing. And he was like sort of the co-director and like in so many ways, because he's there with the kids in almost every scene, keeping them focused.
Dude, I gotta say that studio they use, like they've used for The Mandalorian, that would be freaking cool to just go and visit that studio. I mean, look at that, man. It looks like real life behind them. Like that they're on a different planet because of the way that that thing works. And that's just crazy. And then all this is just set design right here. This is all just set design. That is crazy, man.
In almost every scene, keeping them focused, running lines with them, you know, making sure they hit their marks. Like he was just like, in addition to being like an incredible actor and wonderful man, like he also just helped us so much.
Yeah, he's like
with the kids.
sherpering
It's
these
such
young
a
actors.
gift to have an
That's
actor
the
like
way
that
it should
who
be.
not only can just, you know, give you that incredible performance, but also show the next generation of talent.
I just, as an example, I just remember seeing him like in the cockpit, and he's, you know, holding the yoke, and he's looking, he's seeing all this stuff, and it's just a blue screen. And it's like he seemed more lost in his imagination than the kids. And they would look to that and be like, okay, I see. You really have to like really imagine really hard.
Yeah, he's like, in a way, him in real life and his character are kind of like a grown-up version of all of the kids on the crew. And
I mean, that's what acting is. You're just a kid at heart.
Like the grown-up side of that sense of wonder and imagination.
We'll make a partnership. But we have to move fast!
Another incredible thing
I love the droid too, man.
Making the show is that when your main characters are 4 10-year-old kids, every day on set is like the greatest day in the world because they're so amazed at every single thing that's going on.
It's the best morale booster.
Yeah, like everyone has a great time because the kids are having a great time, you know. They're seeing animatronics and puppets and just all kinds of crazy special effects. They're having so much fun, and our 4 kids were just such a fantastic little group. Like, I love them so much.
It
This does look like it's going to be
why
fun.
you got into this business in the first place. So that like you're getting
Like
to
a
pretend, you're
lighthearted,
getting to
fun
play, you're getting
action
to invent
adventure
and have so much
TV
fun
show.
doing it. And so often filmmaking can become a job, but it's not. And when you're working with children, it reminds you that this is all make-believe, and it's so much fun.
Robbie was doing all the jobs. He would always do the clapperboard. Anytime anyone would let him, he wanted to do that. He wanted to call action and cut. He wanted to learn what all the jobs were.
He also started the trend of mustaches on set.
Mustaches. They all came dressed up as various crew members on Halloween.
Robbie came and dressed as
Robbie was dressed as
John
me.
Watts. He showed up with a Starbucks and his earphones.
That's awesome.
Based on what the concept of the story was going to be, we knew they had to start in a more safe planet. It was an opportunity to, you know, design a new thing. Like the kids' bikes was a really good place to start, because I think when you're designing a speeder bike,
it's like
it
E.T.,
looks really
man.
cool.
It's like E.T.
Like, how do you make Wim's bike be kind of corny?
Like, come back, we need to bring in more Huffy, you know, and
there's like little tassels on
and
it.
we put tassels on it, and you know, there's tassels in space.
Are there tassels in space? These are the kinds of questions.
And that was the crazy thing. Is,
you know, always call Dave Filoni and be like, are there tassels?
Yeah, can we do that? And the scariest thing he would say is, well, there are now.
Yeah.
I'm excited for people to see Skeleton Crew because it's the same Star Wars universe that you know and you love. It's just a new perspective. The ability to see that world through the eyes of 4 10-year-old kids, I think, is a completely new way to enter this world that some of us know and love, some of us maybe haven't ever really experienced before.
Yeah, we were just drawn to that idea of these kids stumbling into the larger
Yeah,
galaxy
I'm
and not understanding
optimistically
it all.
hopeful for
That was
this.
just
I mean, I'm
natural to
hoping
us,
it's going to
but
be
it
a
turned
fun
out that
one.
it's a great way for people who don't know the universe to get introduced to it, because they're along with the kids. Or if you know all about it, you know all the things the kids are getting wrong and messing up, which is funny and tense.
Yeah, it's fun to be able to make something that works if you don't know anything about Star Wars and also works if you know everything about Star Wars.
Yeah, and then those two people can finally be friends with each other.
Great job.
Yeah, man, I mean, it looks really cool. I'm optimistically hopeful that this will be good because, I mean, guys, we know we need a good Star Wars show because after The Acolyte, we need like a palate cleanse, man.
Make sure to like and subscribe, or we will execute Order 66. Check out our other videos on the screen as well.
Yes, my lord.